Can you hear me now? Let me turn it back off. Oh, me. Okay, does anybody need a... Where's my... Man. Does anybody need a book? Okay, hold your hand. Jerry down here. These lessons we've been studying about Israel's time in the wilderness, they kind of just all link together from one step to the next step. I'm going to read the lesson today, and then we're going to have to back up a little bit to figure out where we're at. Israel's sin in Moab. We're reading from Numbers, the 25th chapter, verses 1 through 15. Now Israel remained in the acacia grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take all the leaders of the people and hang the offenders before the Lord out in the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may turn away from Israel." So Moses said to the judges of Israel, "Every one of you kill his men who were joined to Baal of Peor." And indeed, one of the children of Israel came and presented to his brethren a Midianite woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Now when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest saw it, he arose from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand and went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through the man of Israel and the woman through her body. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel. And those who died in the plague were 24,000. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, has turned back my wrath from the children of Israel, because he was zealous with my zeal among them, so that I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. Therefore say, Behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and his descendants after him a covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the children of Israel." Now the name of the Israelite who was killed with the Midianite woman was, I think it's Zimri, something like that. The son, I'm going to get lost in these pronunciations here. The son of Saul, a leader of the father's house among the Simeonites. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, everyone's pronounced, the daughter of Zur. He was head of the people of the father's house in Midian. Now, the children of Israel have gone into idolatry big time. But how this happened was like this. There's a guy by the name of Balak. He's the king of Moab. And he's seen Israel coming, and they're a great opponent, or great one to have to fight against. And he doesn't want to do that. So he's trying to figure out ways to stop them. He finds out about this diviner named Balaam, and he thinks that he can talk to him, because God has talked to him at times, and he can get Israel to be cursed. Well, it doesn't work as well as he hoped. But in Numbers 22:35, it says, Balaam's encounter with the angel of the Lord, he continued southward with the princes of Moab. He left with them at this point. But God had told Balaam in Numbers 22:12, this was the first time he asked, and it's 3 times he asked before he devised the plan that worked. He petitioned Balaam to curse the Israelites. And God said to Balaam, this is important, "You shall not go with them, you shall not curse the people, for they are blessed." Now the first time, he doesn't go with them, but as it proceeds on, he makes a big mistake. He told the princes of Moabites to go back without him, because the Lord had refused to approve what Balaam was asking, for Balaam to ask that. So he sent the princes back. These were the princes of Moab. But Balak's persistent. He knows this is a very important stand he has to take. So he petitions a second time, sends the princes back to him again. Now, this is where Balaam, you make one mistake, not too bad, but then you step on over and you make the big mistake, then it gets to be a big problem. And this is where it started. The Lord had already told him what to do. You don't go with them. and you don't curse Israel. That's it, period. But he did something he shouldn't have done. He gave in to the princes, and this is how I know he gave in to them, because he said, "Now therefore please you also stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord will say." Well, he's not going to tell him any more. He's unstated what he told him to do. So now you're trying to appease them. Of course, I think they're giving him gifts and stuff too when Balak's sons of Mara. So it's probably a money thing, and we may read about that in Revelation later on. But he says, what more the Lord will say. So you stay here and let me talk to him again, and we'll see. Well, it's like he's joining ranks with them, and that ain't going to work. Balaam told, on the second time, he told them, in verses, Numbers 22, 38 through 40, and Balaam said to Balak, "Look, I have come to you, now have I any power at all to say anything? The word that God put in my mouth, that I must speak." So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to, I can't pronounce the name. Then Balak offered 7 oxen and sheep, and he sent some to Balaam and to the princes who were with him. He's buying him off. He's trying to get him to go along with him. Of course, following this second time is when the incident with the donkey happened, because he's going with them now, and that's where this happens at. In Numbers 22, 41 and 23 through 23, Balaam has Balak to make 7 altars to make offerings on. In verse 3, Balaam told Balak, then Balaam said to Balak, "Stand by your burnt offerings, and I will go. Perhaps the Lord will come to meet me, and whatever he shows me, I will tell you." So he keeps petitioning God on behalf of Balak. God hasn't changed his mind. He told him the first time what he wanted. Balak, and this third time, Balak asked him, says, "Tell him to neither curse nor bless them. That may help me." And to curse and bless them, I think it was. Get it right. No, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. He's hoping that he won't bless them for victory over the Moabites. The message didn't change. It wasn't going to change. So he quit seeking Balaam at this time to petition God to curse them. But he has a good plan now. And it's probably worked for kings and other places too before. In Revelation 2:14, if I can get there, if I got any fingers to look with. Revelation 2:14. Okay. He was talking to the church at I can remember which church it was now. One of the churches. I'm lost in that part. But anyhow, this is interesting because this goes back to Balak, and he explains what's going on. "But I have a few things against you, because you have there those who hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit sexual immorality." He says here that Balaam told Balak what he could do. So he's in it up to his neck, you might say, with Balak and getting this done. Now, then we get down to the point where we're at now. The Acacia Grove, some versions it's translated, it says Shittim, so it just depends on which version you're reading. It was a place where they began to have the sexual relations with the Moabite women. Now, they were told to remain pure. They also told against fornication and things like that. But it says, "Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab." What's interesting here is what the fathers of the Moab people could not accomplish, the daughters did by seduction. Now, the seduction problem is that it's kind of like when Solomon started having all them different wives. If you become entangled with this woman, and she has that much influence over you, the next thing you will be entangled in her worship. And that's what happened here. They were slowly brought over to start worshiping Baal of Peor, the idol, who was a, can't think of the word I want to say now, but it's involved sex of their idols. So that's what they had done to them. And even the worship of Baal included prostitution. So it was a very sexual type seduction thing. And they used that. Well, anyhow, now you've got, I might need to read this. In Numbers 25:2, it says, they invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. You can't worship two. So when they bowed down to Baal of Peor, then God was put aside, as far as he was concerned. There's an Israelite by the name of Zimri. He became so brazen at this point that he brought his sexual prize into the presence of the Israelites, and they were at the temple. Those who were not going along with this integration with the other people, praying for help, asking God to forgive it and so forth. And here he comes in there with this midnight woman right in the middle of it. It's kind of like, just, I'm going to stick it in your face. And that's what he did. And when he did that, this is where a hero arose. I call him a hero. After he'd done this, before we get to the hero, most of these times, these things that happened, these sexual relations happened outside the camp, so it was not right in their face like I was talking about. The Lord, after this happened, the Lord told Moses, take all the leaders of the people and hang the offenders before the Lord. I want you to hang them out in the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be quenched. Do away with these people. Now, at this same time, he has initiated a plague, and it's wiping them out pretty fast. And before he could take the leaders and hang them, though, the hero arrives. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, he took matters in his own hands, said, something's got to happen here. It's kind of like when David faced Goliath. You brought this woman who doesn't belong here into the holy place of God. This is not going to happen. I'm going to do something about it. So he arises by himself, and he's serving notice that sin will no longer be tolerated like this. This is going to stop. It says, and we read a few minutes ago, we're going to read again. Now when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose from among the congregation. He got up and did something. He arose and took a javelin in his hand, which is, I'd say, like a spear, and he went after the man of Israel. He had he knew what he was going to do, and he went at it right away. And he went into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her body. Now, whether they were in a sexual act, I don't know. But regardless, with one throw, he sends it through both their bodies at the same time. So the plague was stopped among the children of Israel. When he done this, God was appeased, and he stopped the plague. Before he stopped the plague, though, 24,000 had already died. 24,000. And that's probably why they were at the tabernacle tent of weeping, because they were dying. So many of them were dying at that time. I think we always need somebody who will stand up for what's right. Sometimes, whether it's popular or whether it's unpopular, we have to take a stand somewhere. Somebody says, draw a line in the sand. We have to. And Phinehas here, he drew a line in the sand and said, this is it. Y'all been going out here and living with these women and everything, but this ain't going to happen. You're not going to come right in here in our face and do this. We'll stop this. And he did stop it. This action took by Phinehas too did not go unnoticed by God. Because the Lord, he's going to be blessed for what he done. The Lord speaking to Moses declared that because Phinehas has taken action, did not consume Israel. Because somebody decided to do something about it. You know, put away this sin from yourself. Get this out of the way here. So that's what he's doing. In Numbers 25, 10 through 13, it says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, he turned back my wrath from the children of Israel, because he was zealous with my zeal among them, so that I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. Therefore say, Behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and his descendants after him a covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his God and made atonement for the children of Israel. He's not only blessed, but his descendants that come after him are blessed now for what he's done. He is of the priesthood, but they will be blessed. God has promised him for what you've done. Because somebody took a stand, and it was important. The things he said in there, in that verse, he says, he has turned back my wrath. Because he did something, he turned back my wrath. He says, because he was zealous with my zeal, he took action. He knew what he had to do, and he did it. He said, because of this, I did not consume the children of Israel with my zeal. Because he took the zeal I would do. See, he was wanting the leaders of the tribes hung out in the sun to die. But Phinehas didn't wait for that. He took action right then. He knew something. This is a terrible thing that's come within the camp. He says, I give to him my covenant of peace. He'll be in peace. What more could you ask for? I give him my covenant of peace. I'm on your side. And as we said, his descendants, they had that also. But what's important is because why? Because he was zealous for God. And by being zealous for God, he made atonement for the children of Israel by killing those two wicked people. In the latter part of the verses, which got so many names I can't read hardly, it says, not only does God list the name, remember this, God doesn't only list the names of those who are faithful, he lists the names of those who are unfaithful also. So, it'll be like Judgment Day. He has a faithful book and he has an unfaithful ledger. And they will both be listed there. We're not going to hide. It'll be there in the open like that. In page 87 in your book, I want to read this. If I can get there. In the application section, the second part. As individuals living in a culture that values toleration above all, there is much we can learn from Phinehas. His courageous intervention reminds us that sin must not be ignored, but confronted. When one follows this example by denouncing sinful practices, he or she is not being narrow-minded, judgmental, or harsh. Instead, he or she is simply laying God's will. Those who ignore sinful actions sometimes develop toleration for things that God detests. This is the very thing Christians must not do. If anything, we must remember the words of 1 John, 1st chapter, verses 5 through 6. This is the message that we have heard from him and declare to you, that God is light and in him is no darkness at all. If we say we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not practice the truth. We need to live as pure lives as we can. Of course, we're in the flesh and we make mistakes. At the same time, we don't need to ignore, and I'm sure this happens, this is taught at places where you work too. They used to have classes that on diversity. And of course the class was about that no matter what somebody's lifestyle or what they are, it's not wrong. It's just their version of it. That is bleeding over into all of us if we're not careful. We'll become very tolerable. I was sitting at McDonald's yesterday with Don Carter, of all people, and drinking coffee. And I happened to look over to my left, and there were two women sitting there. Two women hugged up. Didn't know for sure they were women because their haircuts so short that they looked more like a man until they got up and he headed out. Then I was pretty sure that they had the body features of a woman. Right there in our face. That's sad. That's sad that we've become a nation like that. I hope things can turn around. I don't know. It depends on the people. As a nation, on that part, whether we tolerate it anymore or not. They won't give up their side, I'm sure. Because that's what they want, that or else. They want to shove it in our face and make you like it. That's their attitude, and I'm seeing it's that way already. Does anybody have anything else to say? Because I'm going to run short today. Okay, then I didn't do a good job because nobody's got a question. Okay, then. Thank you for listening this short time. Have a good day.